Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my Sam Raimi directed movie collection. So I'm just going to give my thoughts and opinions on the movies directed by him that I have in my collection. So these are just my opinions and my feelings and my thoughts on these movies. I don't know if I have all of his movies. I think there's one or two that I'm missing, but I do have the majority bulk of the feature-length films. You aren't going to see like any short films in here or TV shows. These are just feature-length movies directed by Sam Raimi that I have in my collection. So I'm just going to get straight into it. Kicking it off with the first one I've got, collection of movies, and this is the Evil Dead collection. So this has got Evil Dead, Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness. I'm going to touch on all three of these. The first one, I think, is a magnificent student film and a fantastic horror film. I think some of the makeup and the stop motion effects in it are absolutely brilliant. Some of the camera work, too, is really, really effective. Bruce Campbell as well, I think, is fantastic in the movie. Really, really enjoy Evil Dead. I think it is a fantastic horror film. Evil Dead 2, I'm with a lot of people on this one. I think this one is much better. Really, really do have a good time with Evil Dead 2. I think the violence and the effects are through the roof. Bruce Campbell as Ash is on point, fantastic. I think that's his definitive role, in my opinion. Evil Dead 2 for me is not my favourite Sam Raimi directed film, though. I know that sits with a lot of people, and I can understand the love for that film, absolutely. I completely can understand it through and through. I think Evil Dead 2 is a masterpiece of horror in my opinion, and it's cinematic brilliance. I absolutely love Evil Dead 2, I think it's great, but as I said, not my favourite Sam Raimi movie. We'll get to that one in a minute. But yeah, really, really good follow-up. Sort of a remake of the first one. But yeah, I still think those first two movies are fantastic and just some great, great, great fun. Army of Darkness, my least favourite of the trilogy, if I'm honest. I still think it's good, but it takes too much of a step into the comedy realm, if that makes sense. You know, it's still enjoyable and it's still fun. And again, I think Bruce Campbell's on point. The whole medieval setting with the third one. And obviously you have the two endings, the two different cuts. I have one which I prefer. I won't say which, though. But yeah, I think it's a solid trilogy for what it is. Great fun, great sort of three great movies to watch at Halloween, definitely. Just think they're absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Evil Dead trilogy. So next up, we've got a film that I watched quite recently. So I've got this bootleg version of it. I'm not sure how hard this film is to come by, but that is Crime Wave. I had a good time with this film. It's not great. It's not Sam Raimi's best, in my opinion, but still very, very entertaining and very, very enjoyable. Brian James, for me, is such a great character actor. You know, I absolutely love him in Tango and Cash and The Fifth Element and House 3. I think he's such an entertaining, funny actor. And yeah, this movie delivers as well on it. There's a great sequence in this film where a character's being chased through a series of doors. They're just constantly running through these doors and closing them behind them. And the person chasing them is just barging through like Juggernaut from X-Men. It's just so stunning to look at. And it's probably my favourite part of the movie, if I'm honest. But this is, this movie kind of reminds me a little bit of Peter Jackson's early work, like Meet the Feebles and Bad Taste. It just felt like that early type of movie. But I had a really, really fun time at Crime Wave, and I recommend checking it out if you can find a copy of it. I had a good time with it. Not his best movie, definitely not. You get a Bruce Campbell shows up, of course, here and there in the movie, but I recommend checking it out. I had a good time with it, even though it despite its flaws. So yeah, that is Crime Wave. Next up, we've got Darkman. A very underrated superhero movie, in my opinion. I had a good time with it. Very sort of brutal. I think this movie sort of follows beats for beats for me, similar to RoboCop. This criminal gang ends up killing someone, and they come back with these sort of like superhuman upgrade or powers. It sort of follows that same sort of beat. Liam Neeson, I think, is great in this film, along with Frances McDormand. Just a fantastic movie. Larry Drake is the villain as well, Durant. I absolutely love Larry Drake. Ever since I saw him in the very underrated horror film Dr. Giggles, I really like his screen presence, and think he was just fantastic, especially in this film as well. But yeah, Darkman, really good visuals in it, really fun actors. They're all having a blast, and it's just a really good comic book movie as well. I think it's really fun. But yeah, that's my opinion on Darkman. So coming up next, we've got The Quick and the Dead. This for me is a fabulous Western. I love and adore this film. I think it's fantastic and highly underrated. The cast alone: Sharon Stone, Gene Hackman, Russell Crowe, Leonardo DiCaprio. You've also got Keith David in there as well, Lance Hendrickson. Fantastic cast. The premise to this one is pretty much a World Cup, the World Cup knockout stages, but in a shootout in this really good underrated Western. It's this tournament that takes place, and it's pretty much the winner takes all, the last one surviving. It's fantastic, and I absolutely love it. I think this is highly underrated. One of my favourite Westerns, in my opinion. I absolutely love it. I remember catching the end of this on TV when I was really young, with what happens with Gene Hackman's character. No spoilers, but I just remember that image sticking in my mind. And yeah, I think this is fantastic. I highly recommend The Quick and the Dead if you've not seen it. I'm very impressed with it. And one of Sam Raimi's, as I said, underrated movies. Fully recommend checking out The Quick and the Dead. Absolutely loved it. Now, this next one is actually, in fact, my favourite Sam Raimi film of all time. I absolutely adore this film, and that is A Simple Plan. Fantastic premise to this movie. Two brothers and a friend find a crashed plane, and inside the crashed plane is a bag full of money. I think it's about $4 million, and they can't really decide what to do with it. Paranoia sets in. Anything that could go wrong goes wrong, and they come up with this initial plan, but obviously things go awry, and it leads to some fantastic stuff in this film. Really unexpected things happen. You get to know these characters, and they do things that you wouldn't expect, and it's just really unsettling at times. The performances in it are absolutely fantastic. I think Bill Paxton is absolutely on point in this film. If you are looking for a good Bill Paxton movie, because Bill Paxton, at least in the circle of people I know, Bill Paxton is absolutely missed and regarded as a great actor and has a great screen presence. If you are looking for a Bill Paxton film that you have not seen, check out A Simple Plan. It's one of his best, easily. Absolutely superb. Did not know Sam Raimi had this in him at all. This is just a fantastic film. I absolutely love and adore it. I fully recommend checking it out. I know it's quite hard to come by. I think the DVD you can get off Amazon, but it's Region 1. And the Blu-ray as well, I think that's a foreign import. But if you can get hold of this film, it will be absolutely worth it. I promise you it. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Very underrated film as well. So I fully recommend checking out A Simple Plan. An absolute blast with it. Every time I go to watch it, I know I'm in for a treat, and it just doesn't disappoint. Makes for great repeat viewings as well. Just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I fully recommend checking out A Simple Plan. My favourite Sam Raimi film ever. I absolutely love it. So yeah, check that one out if you've not seen it. So next up, we've got For Love of the Game with Kevin Costner and Kelly Preston. Only watched this movie for the first time today that I'm actually recording this video. Yeah, I thought this was a pretty good, solid baseball movie, if I'm honest. Very character-driven. Loved Kevin Costner in it, thought he was great. And Kelly Preston too. You've got John C. Reilly in there as well. Really had a good time with this. Now, when you obviously think Kevin Costner and baseball, Field of Dreams comes to mind. This movie is nowhere near in the same league as Field of Dreams, in my opinion. I still think this is good, but I think Field of Dreams is better. But yeah, I can't really say much more than that. This movie to me was good. It was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. I had a good time with it. I was entertained by it. The performances were great. The characters, really enjoyed watching them. And I just thought this was a good movie. You know, nothing great, nothing special, but it was good. Bit over long. I think this comes in just over the 2 hour mark. But yeah, it was fine. It was fine for what it was. I enjoyed it. I give it a positive feedback, in my opinion. Worth checking out. But yeah, not as good as some of his other work, in my opinion. But yeah, that's For the Love of the Game. Next up, we've got The Gift with Cate Blanchett. This was a really good, suspenseful sort of, I don't want to say paranormal, but very sort of, has this sort of psychic vibe to it. Great cast in it as well. Obviously, Cate Blanchett, Giovanni Ribisi, and Keanu Reeves, and Katie Holmes. Giovanni Ribisi in this was phenomenal. I think he's a very underrated actor. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. Had these really creepy vibes in it. Keanu Reeves was really unsettling to watch in this film. Really good performance from him. And yeah, I thought it was really quite creepy for what it was. The cards that we use in it really sort of reminded me of the ones from the start of Ghostbusters. But yeah, I had a good time with it. Thought it was good. Pretty similar to For the Love of the Game. Not amazing, but still pretty solid and pretty good. And yeah, I recommend checking it out. Thought it was just a really good film. You know, it's one of those ones where it's like, if you've got time to kill, put it on. You know, you'll get something from it, I think. But yeah, I enjoyed it. A good movie. Not great, but just good. So yeah, that's my thoughts on The Gift. Next up, we'd be leading into probably another trilogy that Sam Raimi is probably most famous for. And that is the SpiderMan trilogy. Yeah, my thoughts on the Spider-Man trilogy. I enjoy all three of these films, if I'm honest. The first one, I think, is really good. Really have a blast with it. Love Willem Dafoe as Norman Osborn, Green Goblin. I think it's fantastic. Tobey Maguire is, for the record, my favourite Spider-Man. I absolutely think he's great. Love the whole the build up in this movie, you know, the Uncle Ben storyline, the shots of New York. I think it's a great looking movie. It's a fun, good time. Yeah, that's my thoughts on Spider-Man. I think it's really good. Coming up next, Spider-Man 2, my favourite Spider-Man movie ever out of all the ones we've got. Alfred Molina is on point as Dr. Octopus. For me, totally takes the right step, the right direction and the right step for a sequel. I think this is absolutely brilliant. The scene where Dr. Octopus is out for the count and is having the tentacles attempted to be cut off. That is pure Sam Raimi to me. That is very much Evil Dead. It feels like a scene straight out of a horror film. It's absolutely fantastic scenery. Really, really creepy. Really surprised that scene actually made it into a Spider-Man film because it is just so horrific. But yeah, absolutely think this is the best Spider-Man film, in my opinion. Absolutely love Spider-Man 2. Now, Spider-Man 3. This one, to me, is definitely the weakest of the trilogy. A lot of people I know absolutely hate this film, cannot stand it, just think it is a complete write-off. I disagree with that. I think this is the worst of the trilogy, yes, but there are good things about this film. The scene where Sandman is putting himself back together is phenomenal. That scene alone would make for a very, very good short film, in my opinion. Absolutely no dialogue, but you completely understand everything that is going on in that scene. It spells it out for you with no words at all. It's pure visual magic, in my opinion. Absolutely love it. I love the third act of this film too, as well. I think it's really, really good. Massively entertaining. There's a few problems with it. Topher Grace, I think, is miscast as Eddie Brock. We know the silliness with all the dancing. Absolutely. But I'm of the mind that these three Spider-Man films, they're all silly. They're all goofy movies, you know. But the first two sort of have a bit more competence about them. The third film, for me, takes a bit of a step too far with its silliness. I still think it's good. I still think it's watchable. You know, when I went to the cinema, it really got the crowd going with Spider-Man 3. A lot of people were invested in the relationship between Mary Jane and Peter. You know, one of the best Bruce Campbell cameos out of the three films, in my opinion. I really do have a good time with Spider-Man 3. I know it gets a lot of flack. I'm just not in that ballpark with it. You know, is it a great movie? No. Is it a good movie? Yeah, I'd say so. You know, it's entertaining. Of course, it has the silly moments which could have just been cut out, in my opinion. But I really, really enjoy Spider-Man 3 for what it is. You know, those scenes are disappointing, but if you can get past that, I think you'll still have a good time with it. That's just my opinion anyway. I know I enjoy all three films for what they are, but I do think the first two are the better ones. You know, as flawed as 3 is, I still think there are some good things in there. But yeah, that being said, next up we've got Drag Me to Hell. This for me, I heard this was a bit of was going to be a sort of a return to his roots with his Evil Dead films. This for me feels very much like Army of Darkness crossed with the silliness of Spider-Man 3. There are some creepy moments in this movie. I'll give it that, absolutely. But from what I remember about this film, it's too silly with what it's trying to do. It's just really, really creepy and bizarre. But as I said, there are some creepy things in that. The scene in the car park absolutely put the shits up me, if I'm honest. I've got to give credit to a movie that makes me do that. It just really, really unsettled me. But yeah, it's an all right movie. You know, I give it a pass because it's Sam Raimi, and you know, it's not great. It's not great. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think this movie's great, but it is what it is. You know, it's definitely not in the same vein as the Evil Dead movies. It's fine. It's fine. An inoffensive horror movie with one scene in it that scared me shitless. So yeah, that's my opinion of Drag Me to Hell. And this final film, at the time I'm recording this anyway, we've got Oz the Great and Powerful. First time I saw this movie, I absolutely loved it. Thought it was fantastic. On rewatch, it was a bit more of a struggle, if I'm honest. It just felt a bit lackluster. It's like one of them where you go back to a movie and you're like, this isn't as good as I remember it. I know a lot of people have a problem with the casting. I think Mila Kunis is miscasting this. I think James Franco is miscasting this as well. Yeah, just an overall a good looking movie, but some problems here and there, definitely with its casting. But I don't think this is horrible. I don't think it's a write-off. I don't think it's a train wreck. I just think it's okay. Very, very run-of-the-mill, sort of 5, 6 out of 10 movie. Yeah, just not... It's missing something that's stopping it from being really good. I think if it had taken a bit more of a design looking more like the 30s version of Wizard of Oz, it probably would have been better and would have sat a bit more comfortable with me. But yeah, I just... It doesn't make for a pleasant rewatch, if I'm honest. It's just okay. It's not great. Sam Raimi, when he's on point, he does some amazing work, like Darkman, Simple Plan, Quick and the Dead. But this, for me, was just a bit of a lackluster. I'm hoping to see, more and better things from him with this new Doctor Strange movie. But yeah, this movie, Oz the Great and Powerful, it's okay in my opinion. I just think it's fine for what it is. But yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the movies in my collection that I have directed by Sam Raimi. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Have you seen any of these films? Do you like Sam Raimi as a director? Yeah, just let me know your thoughts. Have you, like I said, which is your favourite Sam Raimi movie? I know there's such a huge amount of love for Evil Dead 2, and I can completely get that. But for me, Simple Plan is in my opinion, my favourite Sam Raimi movie. So yeah, I'll leave the video there, and I'll say thanks very much for watching. Stay safe, and take care. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.